welcome to Brewsers, a podcast about beer, coffee, booze, and bruisers. I am your host, Rody John, and today we speak to UFC fighter Action Damon Jackson. We talk about how he got into MMA, his new gym, which is Fortis MMA Lakeside, which is here in Rockwall, Texas, and how he finds a balance with also having a family. Damon will also be fighting August 5th. That is next Saturday. He is fighting on the fight night against Billy Quarantillo. It is going to be an amazing fight. Watching him at featherweight, I cannot wait to see what happens. I don't know where I'll be or what state I'll be in. I mean, I'll be drinking a lot that day, I'll just say. 3 breweries one day, it should be fun. But you don't want to hear about all that. You want to hear about our newsletter. That's right, we have a newsletter. Make sure to sign up for it. Tell a friend to do it. You get to find out even more information about our guests, some fun facts, and what you get to look forward to on your favorite podcast that's all about beer, coffee, booze, and bruisers. So without further ado, here is Action Damon Jackson. Damon Action Jackson. He is a UFC featherweight. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, what is your earliest memory of MMA?
I watched some of the stuff back in the day where it was like, no gloves. Royce Gracie was tearing everybody up with jiu-jitsu. And, just like the early days where like Kim Shamrock was a big deal and things like that. BJ Penn was killing it. And, I just kind of grew as a bigger fan when the Ultimate Fighter came out. And, so I've been watching it for a while.
Yeah, I mean, BJ Penn was absolutely a murderer back in the day. Like, 2 weight classes. Like, obviously everybody knows the scene of him with the blood on the gloves and just licking it off. And, like, his dexterity was absolutely insane. Like, you don't see a lot of guys now with the same dexterity that he had.
No, it's, he was impressive for sure. I mean, I hate seeing those guys when they get past their prime and still try to be the same guy. It's just like, I'm happy to see him not fighting anymore.
Same. I did hear he's running for office out in Hawaii, trying to make that place even better than it is. So, I mean, good for him for doing that. And then, it is. It's very sad watching guys that you grew up with or watching the evolution of their career, their rise, and then, once they hit that one fight and they're like, okay, they're not the same, and then they keep trying to do the same or they keep trying, it's like sometimes you just got to maybe hang it up. Yep. So you started fighting professionally in 2012, and after having a 6-1 amateur record, how did you get into the sport in general?
Just through wrestling. I started watching Ultimate Fighter and seeing all the UFC guys that were kind of everybody that was winning at the time, they were all wrestlers. So I chose to start wrestling, and I wanted to work my way through college and everything, and did that. At the same time, I started fighting amateur fights during the summer. So I was going to college and fighting at the same time. And once I was done with college, I had more time to train, so that's when I decided to go pro.
No, that makes sense. Do you think that being a successful successful MMA fighter, you kind of have to have somewhat of a amateur wrestling background?
I think it's very important. In a lot of ways, it's saved my butt. It teaches you how to work hard. That's the biggest thing is that, when you wrestle, it's kind of like everything else in your life is pretty easy compared to like wrestling. And so MMA training to me is kind of a joke where we go to practice and everybody's dying and, I'm feeling like we're just getting warmed up. So I think wrestling does a lot for you mentally and physically. At a young age, it's really important, physically to push yourself like that. But, mentally, that one-on-one combat in wrestling, it's, ultimately it's the same thing as fighting.
Right. And it's just you against the other person. There is no team. There you can't tag into somebody else, and there's no it's just that one-on-one competition. If you mess up, that's on you. It's not on anybody else.
Yep.
And then also you learn weight cutting and the proper way of weight cutting in general.
Yeah, I mean, just weight management. I wouldn't say the cutting part so much because we used to not. I mean, I barely cut more than 5 to 8 pounds would be the most I'd ever cut, and because you have to do it multiple times a week, so you don't want to be cutting weight a lot. So, really just managing your weight year round, and being on a consistent diet year round and training schedule.
Yeah. So you do obviously fight at 145. What do you normally walk around at?
Like 170.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe like 73.
That's a lot of weight to cut.
Yeah, and I do a pretty good job. I don't ever have horrible weight cuts, but I've had a few where I've had to really manage it the right way because it can get crazy quick, and you'll be doing the same thing, and it just doesn't go the same. It's like your body cycles through these different phases, and sometimes you'll have a really good weight cut, and you'll do the exact same thing the next time, and you'll have a bad weight cut. So you got to be really careful about how you go about your everyday life.
Yeah. Now, you've said that you're willing to fight anyone in the featherweight division or even the lightweight division. Who are 3 fighters in each division you have your eyes on?
Actually, right now, I kind of have put the blinders on, and I'm just focusing on opening my gym. So that's the next goal right now, is just opening my own gym and getting that going, and then I'd like to book a fight. I'd like to book a fight soon. I just don't want to. There's not anyone that I can just say for sure that I wanted to fight. I really wanted a top 15 matchup, and I got the Dan fight, and it didn't go my way. So now I kind of have to sit back and see what they want me to do.
No, that's understandable. I guess tell us more about the gym. What are you? Is it looking to open soon? Or are you still looking at places?
Yeah.
I guess tell us more about it.
Yeah, I just found a place that I want to lease, and I'm gonna lease it for a while, and then I'd like to build something of my own. But for right now, I'm going to lease, and I just found a place, and it's just going to be another Fortis location. It's about 30 miles away from the gym that I train at, so it'll be nice to just have my wrestling program have somewhere to take those kids, and have our own mat time and stuff.
Yeah. Now, so you do live in the DFW area, so this will obviously be in the DFW area?
It's 30 miles away from the gym Fortis.
Okay. There you go. So what does a normal prep for a fight look like for you? I guess, from what I hear, sometimes you'll hear 3 months out or 6 weeks out. About what is a leading up to a fight look like for you? I don't really water load. There's a lot of fighters that water load a lot. I do drink a lot of water just in general, but I'm making sure my sodium intake is moderate. My carbs are basically nothing, and I'm trying to do a lot of cardio and drink water at the same time. And it's just like I do a lot of prep weight cuts where I go and do cardio and then go sit in the sauna. And I do cycles of that, a couple, maybe 3 or 4 cycles of running and sauna back and forth. And then, I try to keep my weight pretty low. But just heavy water intake, lower carbs, and then, ramping up the protein intake. Nice. What does training look like for you?
I train 3 to 4 days a week, technique-wise, and then strength and conditioning, I usually do about 5 days a week I did that backwards. I do 3 days a week of strength and conditioning and then 5 days a week of technique. And, so it's pretty much the same. I'm doing 2 days, and then when it gets close to fight time, I usually have to do 2 days a week. I do a 3-day. So every day is a 2-a-day, and then on Tuesday or Thursday, I do a 3-day. So it gets pretty crazy.
So what do you do for recovery? Because 2-a-days every day is a lot for your body to recover and come back from.
Yeah, I mean, once you kind of get in shape, like if you carry a good conditioning, not just when you have a fight, if you are constantly working on your cardio and your cardio is good and your weight's good, then you're able to recover pretty naturally just by, I time my workouts where I work out in the morning and then I don't work out again until 8 p.m. for practice. So it's a pretty good gap. And so there's days where I do ice baths a lot. And then also I do a lot of sauna. Sauna work is good just for circulation. But I do sauna work and then I also ice baths when I'm like really killing the running part.
Wow. So do you do the back and forth between the ice baths and the saunas and that whole hot cold?
Yeah, no, it's definitely that helps out so much. It definitely it shocks your body and then sends you in that fight or flight mode, and it's really good for recovery. I don't do it as much as I would like to do that more, but it's kind of hard to get that set up with the way that I have it now. It's like I gotta get a cold plunge next to my sauna, and then once I have that at my house, then it'll be good. But right now I'm just focusing on my gym and getting that going. But eventually that's what I want.
No, that makes sense. It is crazy to see how much more accessible it is to have a sauna in your house or an ice plunge in your house. I mean, I know when I was growing up, like, you had a sauna, then you obviously had a mansion because why else would you have a sauna in your house? And then now, like, with ice plunges, like, before people, obviously, you probably know back in your wrestling days, just buckets of ice. They would just dump in a tub and you just gotta hop in it. Now people just have cold plunges in their house.
Yeah, I don't, the cold plunge, I do the old school ice bath stuff. I just put ice in like a trough, like a watering trough for cattle and stuff. That's what I use.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice. Do you have a favorite and least favorite training day?
You say training day?
Or I guess training,
Technique.
Yeah, technique in general.
Yeah, I mean, I really love getting to wrestle. It's like one of my favorite things. But I would say that's like my favorite day, and it's the day I hate the worst too. Because there's some days where, wrestling, that's the day that everybody is just like you're dead. Like it doesn't matter what's going. It doesn't matter if you're the best guy in the room, whatever. Like some people are gonna keep getting your face the whole time, and it's always like a really rough day. But it's like one of my favorite things is to wrestle. But I would say, yeah, probably wrestling is both, but I love jiu-jitsu also.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I'm trying to think how to phrase this because I know they're completely different when it comes to wrestling and BJJ, but there's a lot of similarities. What, other than I guess like holds and stuff, what to you is the biggest difference between wrestling and BJJ?
I think it's a mindset for with wrestling, it's like, you're basically like, you're fighting for the position, whereas, jiu-jitsu, there's usually like some kind of end, and it's like, I would think that the aggression level is a lot different. Wrestlers, in wrestling tends to be a lot more intense and kind of in your face, whereas jiu-jitsu can be a lot more laid back and, it's just, I'd say like the mindset with each one's a little different with the way you're trying to finish the fight, either by submission or by the pin. But they have a lot of similarities, but I'd say the aggression level is the biggest thing.
Yeah, somebody was telling me with jiu-jitsu, it's embrace the suck, and then you can go from there. Yeah,
you gotta, whenever you're fighting to defend the choke or you're fighting for a position, you actually have to go towards it. And with wrestling, there's sometimes where you can go away from it, but a lot of times you're better off going straight towards whatever's attacking you. And you want to make sure that you're just constantly trying to scramble for position, either on top or on bottom for wrestling. And jiu-jitsu, you can kind of sit back a little more.
Yeah. Now, on your Instagram, you released a fighter's track that had some bangers on there. What is your normal go-to for working out music-wise, and then also just driving around music?
Honestly,